Can the Anaheim Ducks move up in the Pacific Division standings? That is exactly what we'll be talking about today. Now, before we start, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and then subscribe by joining the Hockey Brigade. Subscribe, all that good stuff there. Now, let's talk about the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. So, the Ducks finished with a record of 17-30-9 last season and finished last in the West Division with 43 points, That would have put them on pace for 63 points in a normal year, and they'll look to avoid another season like that as they move back into the Pacific Division as life returns to normal. And now, if they're going to want to play better, younger guys are going to have to step up. Trevor Zegras is a name that we'll pay a lot of attention to here in that regard, as he was the 2019 9th overall pick for the Ducks, and he had 13 points in 24 games last season and will be expected to do a lot for Anaheim. After getting a taste of what life was like in the big leagues, a lot of people are hoping for maybe a 50-plus point season or more out of him. I'm not too sure just yet how that'll go, but if things go smoothly, maybe. He was on pace for 44 points last season, and Anaheim hasn't had a 50-point season by a player since, I think, 2017-18 when two of their players did it. And for a team that had the fewest goals per game last year at 2.21 goals per game, they'll get any offense they can. It doesn't matter how young you are, it doesn't matter how old you are. But for Trevor, I'm hoping that he can be their go-to guy for them this year. And I'm not going to have crazy expectations, but if he can just build off what he did last year, try to improve the offensive game, that would be huge for him. Now, there's two other players I want to focus on instead of the more expected names. Those are going to be Jones and Sam Steele. Both the guys are people that really haven't wowed the league since they've joined the NHL, and if you want to avoid hearing the bust label for them, then you're probably going to want them to turn it around sooner rather than later. They both are former first round picks, and perception is everything in the league. They're starting to look a lot more like projects rather than prospects, and if they could play to their expected potential, that would not only be great for them and their job security, but for the team, as they were hoping these guys would be able to help them out a lot more than they have. And they are going to have to be a big part of this push in the standings if they want to, A, keep their job going forward, to be able to be a consistent part of Anaheim, and B, just get Anaheim going back in the right direction. And I hate to be the bad guy here, but I'm really not expecting a breakout from either one of them. Switching over to goalie, though, that's what we'll have to talk about, being John Gibson. Gibson's a guy that I've rooted for since the 2015-16 season, but we have to see what his future with the team is. He's got 5 years left on his 8-year, $51.2 million deal that he signed back in 2018, and things get weird from here when we're talking about this, because he's certainly a guy that I believe in, that I think that when the team's good around him, he can be a great goalie, but he's had 2 down years the past 2 years, and he's also 28. And for a team that won't be contending for at least 2 to 3 years, I couldn't imagine them in even 3 years contending. You might want to wonder about what his future is. By then he'd be 30, 31, and he might not be part of the team long term for their plan, and that's something Anaheim has to decide soon, in my opinion. We'll have a better chance to win this year in the Pacific if he is their starting goalie, but you also have to wonder if a team like Pittsburgh came up to him where they have a big hole at goalie and said, hey, what would you want for John Gibson? And they can work out a deal. You might want to kick the tires on that and see if you can make it happen, because I don't see him being a guy that, is playing late 30s and then in his prime or anything like that. Now, finally, we'll be talking about the Battle of California and how important it'll be this year for them, because that'll probably decide the bottom of the division. I'm not going to get crazy and say, hey, Anaheim's going to finish third or above. I realistically don't see them finishing any higher than 6th, and for them, winning the Battle of California will probably decide if they move up in the standings. They went 3-4-1 against San Jose and Los Angeles last year in the 16 matchups they played against them. And really, in general, I think that they're either going to finish with a really high pick, or they're going to try to fight their way and work their way up the standings, maybe above San Jose and Los Angeles. But I will say, out of the 3, Los Angeles is a team that I would pick to be the highest, which I think everybody thinks that. And for Anaheim, I think the real goal here should be don't finish bottom. If San Jose finishes above them, that is kind of rough. Now, you might get a good pick out of it, so it really doesn't matter. But if you really are trying to improve and move forward, finishing below San Jose just seems like really, really bad, because You've got the Kane drama, you've got the bad contracts, the poor play by the Sharks. Anaheim, if they are really going to make this push, San Jose probably should be the team that you try to beat up on, but we'll have to see. Could we see Anaheim finish last in the division this year? Realistically, yeah. I mean, I definitely think we could see them there, but will we? Probably also, yes. It's tough to say with injuries, all that stuff. We don't know what they're going to do. But yeah, do you think Anaheim will finish last place in the Pacific? Let me know down below. Also, like this video if you like this video, and subscribe. Join the Hockey Brigade, of course. And everybody stay safe. Have a great night. You go love hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.